Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. A relaxed and confident Joseph Parker has arrived in the United Kingdom declaring he's ready to rumble with Dillian Whyte on July 28th. The New Zealander has been in his training base in Las Vegas for about the past 5.5 weeks or so, preparing to face the Brit at the O2, for a fight which was confirmed at relatively short notice and within 48 hours of negotiations commencing. So there's three things that I want to cover in this video. Parker's statements on arrival, including those of his coach Kevin Barry, the confirmation of which minor titles will be on the line for the fight, and also this whole refereeing situation. Is Team Parker, is it making it into a bigger issue just for a few cheap headlines? More on that later. So on arrival in the UK, Parker was asked about some of the trash talk that Dillian Whyte has been talking, including that Kevin Barry, his trainer, is a control freak. And Parker responded to Sky Sports saying, Whyte likes to play mind games and he's very good at talking. He tries to say things to get in your head. Sometimes it's rubbish and comes out of his mouth, but I respect him and I'll let him say whatever he wants to say. When I'm in the ring, I'm going to bash him. We have so many plans in place, so A isn't working and B isn't working. We've got C, D, and so on. When we came here the last time, it wasn't the performance everyone wanted, and we're here to show that we are at the top level, and we've made some adjustments and improvements. We are not just here to muck around, we are here for war. Like I said, we've got a great game plan to go into this fight. If I've got to stop, stand there and mix and change with him and throw it up, I'm willing to do that. I'm here to rumble. I'm ready to throw hands. And you might have noticed there that Parker kept talking about we a lot, but in the end he's only going to be the only one doing the fighting. But yeah, he is a big team guy. In terms of Joseph Parker's statement, so in general, I thought he looked at ease. Physically, he looks in pretty good shape, and we are hearing from Team Parker that Parker is in better shape than he has been, and in better condition than he was for the Anthony Joshua fight. And you could sort of see with his arms there, he did look like, he's cut up a bit, so it'll be interesting to sort of see what condition, what weight he checks in at. But it should potentially be somewhere around that sort of 236 to 240. Potentially he may have a little bit more muscle on him. We'll have to see on that front. But it was interesting to hear about the plan side of things. That, Parker is prepared and able, as he puts it, to effectively change up the strategy if and when he needs to. I mean, he may actually need to do that in this fight, because Whyte, if he ends up having some success on the inside with some body work and so on, Parker's going to have to sort of change things up. But whether he can actually really change up his rhythm and tactics mid-fight, it's a bit of an open question for me. I don't actually really recall seeing Parker doing too much of that, or doing it effectively, when he did have difficult patches in the Ruiz Jr., Fury, Takam and Joshua fights. It's just one of those things where Parker, he is very much a rhythm fighter, and he likes to get into his work, and if he is knocked out, it can take him a bit to get back in. And sometimes he doesn't really change things up, he just kind of keeps doing the same things. But, so I'll be interested to see, something to watch out for. As is whether Parker will actually throw hands, as he puts it, and try to bash Whyte. I do want to believe him when he says that. But I, like many other fight fans, we've heard that all too often in the past 18 months or so, when Parker's been a bit patchy, and we've wondered, where has the aggression gone? Where's the combinations gone? Where's the uppercut gone? Some of the other power shots, he's not throwing them nearly as consistently. And certainly his double jab and triple jab, it disappears very quickly. So it'll be very interesting to sort of see if those different facets will sort of play a bigger part in this fight. There will also be a couple of belts on the line for this fight, and we've heard it's the WBO International title as well as the WB Silver title, and that of course was what Whyte won from Robert Helenius in October 2017. But on the WBO belt, so David Higgins, Parker's promoter, he says, "We received confirmation in writing of that earlier this week. It's an eminently sensible decision. We've always said that this fight is a people's eliminator, and this announcement simply adds more credence to that. For the winner, having those two belts sends a powerful message that they are the rightful challenger for a shot at Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Their case will be extremely hard to deny. It's a nice line from Higgins, but potentially a bit unrealistic. At the end of the day, the belts, they're minor titles, they don't always mean that you get sort of a pole position. I mean, sure, it's going to help Whyte retain his high rankings in the WBO and WBC, and for Parker it's going to allow him to potentially climb a few spots higher. But as we saw recently, Whyte, who's held the WBC silver title, just having that hasn't guaranteed him the mandatory position. And because remember, he is still the #1 rated fighter in the WBC and has been for a few months now, has the silver title. But Dominic Breazeale was promoted over him into the mandatory spot. And the WBO, as we've already heard, and this was some weeks ago, confirmed that this fight will not be a final eliminator. So the winner is probably going to have to win at least one more fight to secure the mandatory shot in the WBO. In terms of the refereeing situation, the as yet not appointed referee. So Parker, what he had to say in the situation was, I always trust my team, and I think from the last fight and the experience we had with that, they will definitely correct it. And I think Kev can touch on that a bit more. And Kevin Barry, he certainly did wade in on the issue, saying, I think we've been pretty hard done by in our first two previous fights here in the UK by the referee. So this time, I would like to think they will give us a classy guy, someone who won't be an interference for the fight, someone who will let the fight go. I tell you what, there are plenty of good British referees. Let's just choose one of them. And now this is the bit that I really wanted to get into. The statement from Kevin Barry, it really confuses me. So for some context, so those past two times that he's referring to, so for the Hughie Fury fight and the Anthony Joshua fights, Team Parker was insisting on a neutral referee. It wasn't able to get its way for the Fury fight, but it did force a change of referee, with Marcus McDonnell a late replacement for Terry O'Connor. And that came about after Parker's promoter David Higgins made a big scene at a press conference, later admitting that, he'd sort of created the issue to sort of shine a light on the refereeing situation, that they've been talking to the British Boxing Board of Control for weeks and not getting any headway. In the end, Marcus McDonnell refereed the fight. From what I can recall, there were no issues, and of course Parker won that fight. Then we had the Anthony Joshua fight. So Team Parker, they were involved in signing off on that Italian referee. And that referee has, of course, from that performance in that fight, been lambasted by almost everyone involved in boxing or who saw that fight. I mean, they actually got their wish. They got their neutral referee. He just wasn't any good. And even as late as a couple of weeks ago, David Higgins, when he spoke to me, he said they wanted a neutral referee for the Dillian Whyte fight.
Oh, look, the contract provides for the process which was mutually agreed between myself and Eddie Hearn. We're both on the same page, so there's no argument. We want a balanced panel of judges and a neutral referee. It's now up to the British Boxing Board of Control, along with the relevant sanction bodies, to put forward names. And then we have the right to object or veto if we have a big problem.
And David Higgins, he also said that if they didn't get a ref that they were happy with, that the fight, potentially, they could call it off.
The heaviest option was to cancel the fight. And if they, for example, selected Giuseppe Cortelloni again, the Italian referee, he was so bad that we'd have to consider cancelling the contract if he was selected. But that's the last option. Before that, there's opportunities for feedback and objections.
So when Kevin Barry now says that there's plenty of good British referees, let's just choose one of them, it really is a complete 180, and it's sending major mixed messages on this, whole situation. What is it? Do you want a neutral ref, or you want to settle for a good British referee? Make up your mind. And also, I don't really believe that we've been pretty hard done by in our previous fights in the UK line. I mean, they influenced the removal of Terry O'Connor for the Fury fight, and they had a hand in signing off on the Italian bloke. I mean, you actually have to wear some of that on the chin, Duco, surely. But the British Boxing Board of Control General Secretary Robert Smith, he's quoted as saying, in relation to the appointment of officials, we're just dealing with that now. We're just finalising all the officials now. Part of me, though, thinks this referee issue serves two purposes. Keep the issue bubbling along, keep it on the radar, given what happened in that last fight with the Italian. But also to help generate some easy coverage for the fight. Because it's no secret, this build-up, it's been rather quiet. It's been quite flat, actually, despite the quality of this fight and a couple others on the card. The biggest news in recent days, or should I say the last few weeks, has actually been the uncertainty about a couple of the undercard fights, with Kell Brook pulling out, and so did Joshua Buatsi's opponent. So we're waiting on to see, who's going to fill those slots. So what do you make of it all? Joseph Parker now in the UK. Fight week, it's not far away. It's really crept up quick. Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.